And welcome everyone, hello, and welcome to Geek Space TV presents Night Witches, Toil, and Trouble, episode 11. Hi everyone, it is good to see you all. Oh, this is the Geek Space.
It's always a joy to be here, but I'm also afraid.
I'm not afraid.
I mean, you wouldn't be, but...
That's fair. That's fair. Actually, sometimes I'm afraid because I have no idea what y'all are going to do. That's the thing.
I mean, I'll mostly just punch things. I'm predictable enough.
Yes. Not that that's going to come up today. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Pardon me.
I'll trust that even a little bit.
Oh. Hey, you know what? What's going to happen? It's going to happen. We are the Geek Space, and we are a non-profit streaming studio out of Seattle that it takes as its mission increasing diversity and representation in geek and gaming spaces. And we love to have you here. We are on Twitch. We also have a Patreon. Don't say that yet. That comes later. We have a Discord if you would like to hang out with us on Discord. We also have a podcast with us here, and that podcast is let me get that up. There we go. The podcast. Somebody will hit the link for it. Thank you. The podcast has all the episodes of Night Witches in podcast form, all up to date to the most recent one. So you can check out if you want to get caught up. You can get caught up that way on podcast. We also have a YouTube where we have the run of all of our shows on there. I think they're 1 or 2 weeks out of date at the moment, but they'll be being updated at any moment. So those are all the places you can find us. Now, if you want to support us, there are many ways to do so. And the number one way to do so is just be here with us and watch our shows. We love having you here in the audience, seeing our shows. We do this for you. So thank you very much for being here. And you can chat with us in the chat. We see it. And also, if besides just being here, you can hit the share button to tweet out that we're live so you can get your friends to come in. On top of that, you can just generally tweet. You can let people know about us. And if you want to support us in some kind of other way, you can follow us. There's a follow button probably up there. You can subscribe, and a subscription is free with Amazon Prime. You may also subscribe to our Patreon. And if you want to, you can give us bits or tips. We have a goal, which should be up there, and that goal is to help pay for and fund for the next season of our shows. We have a lot of really exciting things happening. We've got a show based on The Expanse. I'll be running, and that'll be run by Scotland, who's amazing. You might remember her from A Good Society, and also Eat, Pray, Kill. I will be doing a French Resistance game, so that'll be very exciting. And there will also be a game run by Random Tuesday, which is yet to be determined because there are some discussions happening behind the scenes, so that's exciting. And we will read any of your tips and bits messages out at the halfway part and at the end. I think that is all of that sort of stuff. I would like to have all of our cast introduce themselves first so we can know who they are and where to find them. Today, Shell Game will not be here. She's not, you can tell, she's not here today, but that is all right. She will be back next week, but we do have back the first person who will introduce themselves, our beloved Mac.
Hey also, guys. Just a quick note, I'm apparently a panel of...
Yeah, I was just gonna...
And it's part of PB's head is also a panel of this.
Yeah.
What?
I was gonna message you about it, but...
Oh, I see it. Thank you. Let me see what that's about.
Trying to wave and get your attention.
No, I see it. And I'm like...
just been like, hey.
Why is that happening? There we go. It's fixed. Easy. Magic. So, sorry, Mac, please introduce yourself.
It's all good. Hey guys, I'm Mac Beauvais, also known as Strange Like That. You can find me on the Twitters, Instagrams, the Facebooks, behind you right now. Turn around quick. Oh, I'm right there. I'm also the director of product experience over at Crypt TV, so I make really cool merchandise as my day job, and then play a lot of tabletop games. You can find me a lot over at the Happy Jacks RPG podcast, and also with 12-sided stories.
Ooh, nice. Very nice. Let's go over to Maggie.
Hey everyone, I'm Margaret. You can find me at Margaret Crone in all the places because that's who I am and that's where I am. And I do things on the internet. Sometimes they're tabletop oriented. So if you're interested in tabletop RPG stuff, I might have some things for you. Yeah, come hang out with me. It's fun.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
How about also you're Margaret Crone? So that's like I feel like your name is sort of like a detective name. I'm Margaret Crone, Private Eye, and then
I can see it.
I'll take it.
Rocket.
Yes, I am Rocket Fox, and I too can be found in all the places. I'm less active in some and more in others. It's like a guessing game, but mostly I'm active on Instagram. But I can be found
So
anywhere.
good. Go follow her Instagram right now.
Thank you.
It's so good.
But yeah, no, I do, as of late, a lot of different crazy makeup looks, and some gaming, cosplay, storytelling things. I also am an illustrator, sometimes design things that end up being merchandise experiences. And yeah, I'm also the president of the board for Superheroines, etc. And we are a nonprofit with the mission to empower women and those who identify as women to embrace their inner nerd. So you can check us out at superheroinesetc.org.
Yay! And our
And I
guest
just had to do
star.
this. So now Mac is on.
Ooh.
Oh man! Oh man!
Nick
So much
everywhere.
is happening right now.
All of the Nicks.
I guess like it's kind of weird because what do you call it?
There,
There
you
you
go.
go.
She's kind of lurking behind you now. It's fine.
Sometimes
That's the
behind
best
you.
thing I've ever experienced.
Nick is behind you. Nobody knows. And
That is amazing.
our special guest star, who will also be here next week, I'm very happy to say, PB.
Hi, I'm Pumpkinberry. You can find me at Twitch and Twitter at Pumpkinberry. You can also find all of the tabletop role play things I do at pumpkinberry.tv. And I'm just so excited to be here. Really, really excited to get back and dive in. And hopefully I punch a Nazi.
It might happen. I'm just saying.
Right.
There are
Right, it might
possibilities.
I don't know. I'm afraid if we're at the state of we're punching them, then that means we either crashed or we're kidnapped or something. And I don't know how I feel about either of those.
Yeah, either of those make me nervous. Understandable. I agree.
And I am Trooper SJP, your game moderator. And you can find me at Trooper SJP on Twitch, where I stream story-heavy video games and usually get distracted by chat and talk about other things too long. And also you can find me at Academic Foxhole on Twitter. So that's us. We are going to go to credits, and when we come back, we will start with episode 11. Oh, I should tell you all something. I do have to tell you, we only have 2 more episodes after this one. That's all. I know. But I just wanted to, so you weren't surprised when I tried to, prep you all for this first.
It just means that chaos is going to ensue. So just prepare your mind, your body, grab a box of tissues. I don't know.
Sorry, I shouldn't be as amused by that as I am. Let's go to credits. And welcome back to Night Witches, Toil and Trouble, episode 11. Hello, everyone. Welcome into this episode. We find ourselves in the Polish town of Zambrów with our heroines, doing all the things that they do. I would like us to go around the table, and it's a virtual table, and have everyone introduce their characters. Tell us who you are and tell us about your character. Tell us what they look like and just something about them. And let's go the opposite direction, and let's start with Anasova. PB.
Me? Oh, sorry, I was muted. Okay, so, I feel like I can't. Okay. There's just like so much I want to share, but then also not too much. Okay, so
I understand.
So I'm older, I think, than everybody else here. So I'm about mid to late 30s now, I guess.
36.
And 36. Yep. So, and I am I don't really pay too much attention to my uniform as much maybe as I used to. My hair is blonde, tied back. I don't really put too much effort into my appearance. And I had a rough last year. So it started with my wing woman, I guess, betrayed everybody. And we were captured by the enemy and interrogated, and then we were let go. We escaped, or so I thought. And and then come to find out that actually we had given the enemy information, and basically I was ostracized from the rest of everyone. And I think everyone expected me to leave, but I chose not to. For some reason, I'm still sticking it out. So that's what you asked, right? Like, did I miss anything? Okay. I don't think I missed anything.
I do have my beginning of episode question for you, however.
Right. Okay. I'm ready.
You're 36.
Yeah.
That's practically dead.
Yeah.
You're not married.
Nope.
Why?
Well, I mean, the traitor thing probably
doesn't help.
Doesn't help. I think really what happened is I do really care about my country, and I believe that sometimes we make sacrifices to do the greater good or to contribute to the greater good, and I really believe that's what I'm doing. I don't think I ever didn't want it. It just so happened that it just never came up.
Anasova, I'm just thinking about you right now, and the episode.
Oh God!
See that?
That's not ominous or anything.
No.
I feel like that just does not bode well.
I'm just gonna mute myself and cry.
It's like in going, Anasova, I liked you so much.
You probably won't die today, so that's good. Probably. No. Rocket, tell us about who you play, Titania.
I don't know. I'm scared to now. So I am playing Titania Petrova. She is trying to keep people alive for the most part. She is the senior lieutenant now. Tends to be coming off an appearance as a little more buttoned up, pretty crisp. Uniform is in place, and going into the position that they're in, military seemed to suit her, just from outward appearances. She comes from Leningrad, which has been under siege for a very long time. Not something she's generally talked about. But yeah, she has a short black bob, again, very crisp. But it's been the case that as things have progressed and as she's been promoted a couple times, she is actually, the leadership position has become a little more natural. So she's a little more comfortable in it and less total stickler.
So I have a question for you.
I have an answer, maybe?
It's October of 1944, and the siege of Leningrad has been lifted. It has been a couple of months. I believe it lifted in January of this year. It's over 900 days the siege happened. And of course...
the longest I've heard of any urban center.
Yeah. And you've not received a letter yet from your parents. Nothing has... There's been no word. But there has been rumor that the siege was so bad that people resorted to cannibalism, that the NKVD would shoot people and try people for cannibalism, that it was actually really, really, really rough. I'm just wondering, how are you feeling not having heard from your parents so far? It's been 8 months, 10 months.
I may know a little bit more about their situation than I've shared with a lot of folks. I am not anticipating on hearing from them for a while.
All right. And how do you feel about that?
I think, being in the situation that she's in, being among all the women and really having something to focus on and some goal to shoot toward, I think helps. I think having all of the things, and especially being in a leadership position, it helps her to kind of focus on what is present and at hand and around her. So I don't think she really tries to focus on it much beyond that.
Yeah. Okay. Maggie, tell us about Irina.
Oh, Irina.
She's a delight.
I'm a nice person. Just discllaimer.
Irina's not a mean person.
I love Irina.
I love her too. Come on now.
She's like got a hard exterior, but her heart is like right in the right place all the time.
Very honest. Very honest.
Yeah, she is.
Sometimes I think it's more honesty. Yeah. I think you got like a gist of her just from those comments. But Irina Alberg she comes from a Swedish family who moved to Moscow because her father owns farms and things of that sort, and wanted to progress his career. And she's the youngest of 7 children. So she is loud, boisterous, and very blunt. When you're that kid that gets the hand-me-downs all the time and like you have to like speak up to get heard because there's 6 other kids around. That's where she comes from. She's got short, frizzy, brown, curly hair that's just really not well kept, basically my hair. And then she's really tall, bulky. And at first glance, you might not even think that she was a woman at first because she just kind of has that more masculine appearance to her. But she is. And she doesn't really keep her uniform well kept either. She's kind of just does not care that much about what she looks like, similarly to some other ladies that were speaking in this. And she, like, even when she's trying to be serious, you can always tell that she's got something else going on in those blue eyes.
So I have a question for you.
I'm ready.
One thing we know about your character is that you are a writer. You write letters to your family, to Andrei Kazanov. You write lots of letters. And this seems to be something that you always do. And we learned from the last session that your letters are beautifully eloquent. While you may not be a person of many words orally, written down, you write beautifully. So my question for you is, your hands have been terribly burnt. They look awful. And they still hurt a little bit, especially when you're writing. So I'm wondering about, how do you feel about your hands?
I think that a little bit of it for Irina is that she kind of sees it as like those battle scars that people talk about, right? Yeah. Like this is the first of many that she thinks that she'll have. So, and she's seen other women who, you look at Anastasia, what happened to her, and Veronica, who we met previously, like, she's not the only one, and going away with some burnt hands and missing some skin and kind of looking gross is like, it's not the worst that she's seen. So I think from her perspective, it's kind of a badge of honor, which I think is a weird way to think about it, but I feel like that's the way that she would think about it.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, that's so good. And back from a bit of a sojourn. Nick, last session, Nick was sort of sent on temporary duty. She had to sort of work with one of the other squadrons for a little bit, but she is back now. You know, she's got things to do. She's one of the top navigators along with Lena, and so sometimes they need the navigators to go off to do other things. And so she was gone last session doing some work with a different squadron. But she is back now. So, Nick, why don't you tell us about... Mac, why don't you tell us about Nick?
I know how it's easy to get the two of us confused. Nick is kind of a slight roguish build. She's got short auburn hair, olive green eyes, face full of freckles. She really started out very... she was always tomboyish, a little bit more loose and more playful about stuff. But as things have gone on with the war, she's gotten more and more stoic, a little bit more reserved, less likely to cause a lot of trouble. And that's largely because she is herself a lavender woman. Yeah. And she is in so far, a relatively long-term relationship now, because we skipped ahead in time with Mel,
who is the mechanic armorer for the section. And it's been like, you two have been together for almost 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
And that's, finding the spaces and time that you can, which leads me to your question. This place where you're at right now, Zambrov, does not have a lot of privacy. There's not a lot of space in here. There's like a little village that's a little bit out of the way. There's a bigger town where actually everybody else is stationed, but where you're at, there's not a lot. You have this little wheat dome, but that's not really a place for privacy, as it's a place where the airwomen hang out. So my question for you is, where do you and Mel go to have some sort of privacy?
Even though there's a lot of rumors about it and everything is kind of weird, probably go more towards the edge of the woods and just out of eyesight and earshot.
So you go into the haunted forest, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, maybe we're the source of the screaming.
It could happen. That is possible. I'm just saying.
Keep folks away. Keep the spirits up.
It's like a Scooby-Doo thing, but rather than like Old Man Withers, it's Nick and Mel. It's fine.
Oh, see, I was thinking the Shrieking Shack from Harry Potter. Spreading rumors so nobody will go in.
No, that's good. I like it. Like, don't go into the woods. Oh my. So last time, in the last session, our characters had a lot of feels. Anastasia and Anasova had a really sort of wonderful bonding moment thinking about being loved and scars and people sort of talking about you. And then they also ran into the men of the 111th Army Regiment, who were so moved by the fact that they had been helped by the Night Witches. The Night Witches had bombed some enemies so they could escape, that they gave each one of them, they gave Anasova trinkets of their lives to remember them by, and then carried all of this food with them back on base, and where we start is a feast, sort of the debriefing, the post-mission feast where they've made food for everyone. Also, Titania and Irina discovered that one of the POWs is not a private or a corporal, but is an SS officer. And the person who had tortured Anasova back in Pashkovskaya over 1.5 years ago. And they got information out of him, including that someone else back at that time was a traitor. A person codenamed the Nightingale, and they don't know who that is, but they learned that this person was somebody who was not a flyer, who stayed on base and would get information through trucks and cutouts. And that this person, Klaus Müller, has been turned over to the Polo truck. And then the other thing that happened was that Elena and Ivanova, besides getting into fistfights quite a few times, because they are not in a good space with each other, they went off to do reconnaissance to find an auxiliary field, and in the process, they found a small child just sitting in this bombed-out village, and they brought this child back, Maria. And I wanted to say, somebody was like, soap opera. I was like, just so you know, that actually happened in real life. That is that sort of incident of one of the flyers flying and finding a small child in the middle of a bombed-out village is taken from history.
Oh gosh, and Trooper read that section of the story, and I was like, it's just like, it's hard.
It was hard. So they went on their mission. It was successful, and they have left. They sort of left off in this tent, sort of putting off their debriefing so that they can have this food with the 111th. And we're going to start, but before we do, I want to give us a quote from one of our actual night witches, because I like to start each session off with our historical quote. And this one is from Senior Lieutenant Nadezhda Popova, who was a pilot and a squadron commander, and also was given the award of the Hero of the Soviet Union. And she says, we took off, and they were flying in front of me. I watched them approach the target and drop their bombs, and then the searchlights were switched on and caught the plane in their web. A burst of fire shelled their aircraft, and it was immediately set on fire. I changed my direction and started dropping my bombs on those gun positions, and the lights searched for me, but they didn't find me. I saw their aircraft burning, and the flares they carried began exploding. The burning plane crashed while the searchlights continued to hold it in their lights. That was the 645th combat mission of Yevgenia Rudneva. After her death, she was decorated with the Gold Star of the Hero of the Soviet Union. She was the only daughter of her family, and she had never been kissed. She wrote letters to her professor at the university saying that she couldn't be a scientist until her fair motherland was liberated from the fascists. She wrote, "There can be no real science in an occupied country." Later, the astronomers named an asteroid after her. She was a senior lieutenant when she perished at 23. And so, we start our scene with Nick coming in to this mess tent where everyone is having this meal. And you have the entire squadron is there. You've got a group, like got 10 men from the Red Army who are there sort of folding out food. And it's a fairly like a pleasant atmosphere, and you have this small, probably somewhere between 8 and 10-year-old little girl, sort of malnourished and with sort of mousy brown hair and rumpled clothes, but wearing Lena's sort of winter jacket that sort of swims on her, so large it's like a tent, just sort of sitting around looking at the spaces that all of this sort of activity, sitting near Lena, but also a little bit near Irena, just sort of noting it all as the room is in its sort of buzz, and everyone's sort of chatting and talking. Please, what do you all do?
When did we get a kid?
You know, you send people out to do one thing, and now there's this other regiment, there's a child, there's a lot going on. How are you?
Very confused. I didn't think I was gone that long.
It only took a day, Nick. It only took a day.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised at this regiment.
Titania kind of just, and like goes away.
And I think Nick's gonna probably plop down next to Irina.
I wouldn't blame her. I mean, if you saw, and she kind of like glances over at the kid and looks back at Nick. If you saw her there, I don't think you'd leave her either.
Oh, I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying I was barely gone and I come back and this is it's not what I expected to come back to.
Is it ever the way that you expected to come back to? I don't think I've ever come back and it be the way that I expected to.
That's a fair point.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
The little girl pokes at you, Irena.
When What is it, Maria?
Are you a girl or a boy?
Irina like chuckles at that. I'm a lady. Why?
You're really tall.
If you eat your food, you'll grow really tall too.
Really?
The time
Yep.
you come back at this point, and you may even
Especially.
really hard.
She just like takes the food and like just eats it.
Adorable.
And the major comes in. Let me. I can show you all this. I promised you all that I would get you a photo of the major for today's session, and I did not lie. Let me bring it over for you.
Hey.
Nice. Look at all the medals.
Yeah. So
Fancy.
your regimental commander, Yevdokia Bershanskaya, she arrives with the Lobodeva, who's your assistant, the second in command, and she walks in, and neither Olga nor Svetlana, the Polotruks, neither of one of them are there, but she arrives, and she is somebody that the regiment adores her. She is younger than Anasova. She is at this point in time 32 years old. Yeah. She's 32 years old. 31? 13? She's 31 years old. And she has been flying for 12, 13 years. And she was a trainer. She was an instructor at the flight academy. And even though she's not technically allowed to fly because the commander of the general of the Air Army said, you're not allowed to fly, she still flies. She doesn't fly that often because she's technically not allowed, but she does not allow you all to fly without her leading by example.
I was going to say, she doesn't look like somebody that you would stop from flying.
This is correct. She will fly. And she often leads you all, especially in dangerous missions, and she's not going to be seen as a person who doesn't sort of pull her weight, because she knows that every single pilot matters. And she will often sometimes give people any kind of tips or training, and she's well loved. And she comes in and she says, I will be doing the debrief for this last mission, and she has this little twinkle in her eye, and follow up for the things that have been happening. Paperwork can happen very quickly if necessary. Let's begin. Squadron Commander, tell us about this last mission.
Well, the last mission overall was a success. We flew in, and hang on, I'm actually pull this up so I can remember what happened a week ago.
It's hard sometimes to remember.
This was the port of Gdansk.
So I always have to take notes.
Oh.
No, notes are good. Notes are the best.
Notes.
So needless to say, we flew over, and things overall were a great success. We did end up getting some enemy fire, which was to be expected from the intel that we had, but we managed to, come back safely and do the damage we had intended.
My understanding, airwoman, is that is not all that has transpired in the last 24 hours. And she nods to the deputy commander, who leaves briefly and then comes back in with a tray, right, of glasses of champagne. My understanding is that, and forgive me, our Polotruk, Captain Olga Barsakova, would love to be here personally. She sends her regards. She is, however, somewhat indisposed. So, we have medals.
Understandably.
I see PB over there.
She's punching my Nazi.
You don't know that, though.
Right, I don't, but TV knows, and I'm.
She says,
Reasons.
she says, Senior Lieutenant Titania Petrova.
Yes, ma'am.
Sergeant Irina Alberg, please step forward.
Does this thing.
Senior Lieutenant, and she addresses now the rest of the squadron. The Senior Lieutenant and the Sergeant here, through their amazing perception and their dedication, rooted out an SS officer who was working in intelligence who had hidden himself amongst the prisoners of war. And this man has contact with traitors within the unit, and Captain Barsukova will meet and brief you all on this a little bit later. But for their defense of the motherland, each one of these brave airwomen shall receive a medal. Senior Lieutenant Titania Petrova, who I am very proud of, and very proud to have be the squadron leader of the 2nd Squadron. You are hereby awarded the Order of Glory.
Thank you, ma'am.
For your remarkable actions, rooting out an SS spy who threatened all of our lives, you have been awarded the Order of Glory. As you know, this medal is awarded to privates and sergeants of the Red Army and to aviation lieutenants who display glorious feats of bravery, courage, and fearlessness in the battle for the Soviet motherland. Congratulations on this honor, Tovarich. And she places this medal in your glass, and then she pours the champagne and she hands you the medal.
Takes it.
And then she steps aside in front of Irena, and she says, Comrade Sergeant Alberg, you are hereby awarded the Order of the Great Patriotic War. For your ferocious actions, rooting out and convincing this traitor to speak, you have been awarded this medal. This order is reserved for those who perform specific heroic deeds that strike a blow to the enemy. In this case, a little bit of, and she sort of turns to the deputy commander, aggressive questioning of our SS infiltrator. You have contributed to the destruction of enemy material and demonstrated great resourcefulness. Well done, comrade. And she places the medal inside the glass of champagne, pours the champagne in, then she hands you the glass.
I nod, take the glass, and kind of look at Titania.
And then the other glasses are handed out amongst the airwomen of the squadron, many of whom are so proud that their squadron leader has been given this great honor, and to know someone who's been given one of these, the Order of the Great Patriotic War, and they cheer. And little Maria doesn't quite know what's happening, but she cheers too. And everyone drinks to your health.
Cheers.
And then the major says, well, I will leave you to it. However, Sergeant Popova, I believe you are the one who's most responsible for this little one. If you will take this child and come with me, we have to discuss some things about what to do with her. Follow me?
I figured that would be the next step. So she kind of leans down a little bit. It's just like, okay, honey, will you come with me? Is that okay?
And then the little girl goes and just holds on to Lena and shakes her head. She just sort of grabs onto Lena's leg.
Major, Lena was the one who found her, and she seems to have developed a very close bond. I think perhaps it would be more beneficial to the child if Lena accompanied you on this business.
That makes sense, Lieutenant. Indeed. Sergeant Popova and little one, come with me. And Lena sort of leads Maria out, who will only go with Lena, and they leave the tent. And there you are, in your mess tent, all of you together, having this food, and having served you all, the men of the regiment, they all nod and salute you all, because most of you are officers, and many of you are. And they leave, leaving you with just amazing riches of fruit and the women of the 2nd Squadron in your mess tent together.
Well, if I knew we were going to have feasts like this, I would have gotten involved in the war much sooner.
Well, as I recall, this is sort of the first of its kind.
Well, every one of you here deserve it. You have continually, even despite all of the excitement of the past couple days, you've all made me continually very proud.
Well, you should be proud as well. I mean, you just got another medal. That's amazing.
Well, I will admit, Irina and her quick eye did manage to spot the officer first.
Just something seemed off about him, you know?
Besides, she's able to lift him much higher than I could.
Anastasia
Irina
laughs.
chuckled at that.
That's the third lift. I'm pretty sure that's the third successful lift you've done.
Champ is
I gotta
really good
agree.
at lifts.
I gotta agree with Nick, though. It's been an honor working under you.
Well, thank you.
I have to.
Starts eating like a fruit or some delicious morsel.
Congratulations. I have to agree. I also have really enjoyed working with you. When no other unit would have me, you made a home for me, and I appreciate that.
Well, I think we all know something about what it means to be an outsider. And Titania is trying to choose her words carefully at this point. And we know that you had nothing to do with what transpired. And we're happy to have such a skilled person in our midst.
Thank you.
Eating.
And then you hear a voice from the corner saying, well, you know what I heard? And there's the Greek. The Greek in the corner, the source of all good gossip in the unit, in the squadron. She leans over and she says, I heard that Olga Barsukova is questioning this guy who, well, I mean, tortured you, and just points to you.
And then Titania immediately stands up. I'm gonna have to ask you to accompany her, points at somebody random over there, and I'm gonna need you both to check on the status of the planes from the last mission right now.
And the Greek goes, me?
What
Yes,
is she?
you.
What is she talking about?
Yes, Lieutenant. Yes, ma'am. And the Greek gets up and was like, oh, and moves over and like grabs Anasova and like they're going to go off to check planes.
Me grabs me.
No.
To go check.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ivanova, pardon me. Grabs Ivanova.
Okay.
And they split.
Lieutenant.
Well, no, not Ivanova, just somebody random from her section. Ivanova's still there to cause trouble.
Titania hears her and does not respond just yet.
I look at Irina.
What?
Is
Irina's like
is it
shoveling
true?
food in her mouth.
Titania sighs and kind of slowly turns to her. It didn't seem like the right time to tell you.
When would be the right time to tell me? Were you going to tell me?
We would tell you when we could get more information out of him and when he was not close enough for you to be distracted by this.
I'm not sure how someone is supposed to be not distracted by something like this.
Titania sits down next to her, who I'm assuming is sitting right now.
Irina's like, and Irina like kind of like butts in and shovels, like puts food in her mouth again and is like, hey, I'd be happy. Now we can prove that, you know, the rumors that people are saying about you aren't true. And she just keeps eating.
Well, they're not true.
Exactly.
And whether or not there's proof hasn't seemed to make a difference.
Enough to
I think it could.
this person and the people beneath him did terrible things. We don't have to know exactly what happened to know that they did terrible things.
Well, we should know exactly what happened.
We should, but we know that you suffered. We know that we all know what happens under questioning, even from our own Politruck, much less the SS.
But I'm suffering still.
I know. I don't want you to be in a position where you will let your mind get distracted by thoughts of vengeance or thoughts of trying to do anything irrational while this individual is on our base.
May I be excused, Lieutenant?
Of course.
Thank you for telling me. I leave.
Where do you go?
Probably just to the barracks, probably to like my area.
Titania's gonna wait a minute and then she's gonna follow her.
And I mean, as she's when she walks away, Irena's like, she was gonna find out eventually.
What is going on?
With which part?
Any of it? All of it?
Irena just starts telling her everything, I guess.
Lets her know that there's probably some kind of mole on the base that is a current and active traitor, probably. Somebody on the base.
So that's the only part I don't know. That's the only
Yes.
part I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And that is
Sure.
currently, very few people know that part.
Why?
That's probably the rumor,
Yeah.
actually, is
Yeah.
that it's me.
Well, there's rumor about who could it be? And it hasn't really 100% come out yet, but it will. Nick and Irina, please go on.
Wow, that's again, I've gone for such a short time and I come back and wow, okay.
Best part about this though, food.
Yeah.
I think this is the most food that I've had in ages.
This is pretty great. And Nick's gonna look around. Are the women from are the mechanics there at all?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're in there. The mechanics don't tend to sit with the pilots and navigators, so like they're on the other end of the mess tent, but they're there sort of, laughing, and Ivanova pipes up to you all because you're in her section. She says, "You know what I heard from the Greek? I heard that this traitor, the Nightingale, wasn't a pilot. Was somebody who could have access to trucks, and somebody, I heard that they put messages in like dummy munitions. So who could do that? Who could put messages in dummy munitions, and who could get messages in and out and isn't a pilot or a navigator?" And she just looks over at the mechanic armorers.
Yeah, I look over and I'm like, I think we all know who that could be. Doesn't mean that that is who it is. Also, stop spreading that information around. If there is somebody out there who is doing this, we don't want them to get a hint of it, right? We want to catch them in the act.
Let alone the fact that it's rumors and gossip.
I mean, some of it.
And Ivanova looks at Irina with this look of respect. Like, you sided with me? And she's like, yeah, all right. And like, you can tell that she's warming to you, right? That she thinks that you're probably a good egg. Unlike Lena, who she does not think is a good egg at all, because Lena keeps trying to punch her.
Give it time. That's how she starts. That's her love language.
That's her love language.
They bonded for a little bit.
They bonded for a little bit. And even if it just keeps looking over at the mechanic armors as they're sort of laughing in their corner and eating food.
Mel, you hang out with them a lot.
Yeah, Nick, do you know anything about one
Did
of
you
them?
see anything that might be suspicious or weird?
No, I mean, they work so hard and keep our planes going and help us complete our mission safely. I haven't seen anything.
Mm.
Ivanova leans in one more time and she says, I've heard something else.
What is it? Spit it out.
You know that one over there? Mel Kamenova?
Yeah.
I
Mel's
hear,
worked on a bunch of our planes.
yeah.
For years now.
I hear she goes missing for hours and hours at a time and nobody knows where she goes.
Who said that?
That's what I heard.
Maybe she's taking a break. It's none of your business.
Well, it is my business that she's a traitor.
I mean, it is fair information. If she's been going missing, maybe we should follow her.
Why don't look? I know them really well. Why don't I talk to them?
All right, but be careful.
Yeah, don't let her know that we're suspicious about her.
Of course not.
Look, all I'm saying is that I heard that she sometimes goes missing for hours at a time.
And Nick just kind of sighs a little bit and says, I'll see what I can find out, okay?
Yeah, but be careful, because if she's a Nazi, you know, she might shoot you or something.
Yeah.
I'll be careful.
I mean, that'd be pretty obvious. Maybe that wouldn't be the right way to go about it.
I'm not exactly going to go over and go, hey, are you a Nazi? You have to tell me if you are.
Right, that wouldn't work.
That'd be the dumbest idea.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's why I'm not going to do it.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is like the best conversation because I know what Nick's side of this is.
And Ivanova goes, Volkova, you've always been on the up and up. We trust you with this mission.
I am just so tickled that you would trust me with such a important mission as this.
Well, because look,
Are you trying to be sarcastic with that?
Yeah.
And it's obvious you're not trying to hide it or anything.
Yeah, she can't help but be sarcastic about it, especially in the face of Ivanova.
Irene, yeah, I get that. I get that. Irina actually like leans in and is like, "This is actually a big deal. I don't think we should take it as a joke. If there's somebody here that's a spy, we need to find out who they are. And if what you're saying is actually true, we should look into it. And
No,
I trust Nick with my life."
I totally get it. I agree. I'm just saying that, you know, we also need to try and be respectful of the fact that these are women that, even if there is a traitor among them, for the most part, these women have been helping us and they've been helping us through the war. And we also don't want to point fingers at people that haven't done anything.
Hey, I'm with you.
yeah, but every time we go up at night, we could be in danger.
We are in danger every time we go up at night.
Nick makes a fair point.
Yeah,
Pretty much every time we go up, it's a chance that we won't come back.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. We have less good chances if there's some sort of wrecker or saboteur in our midst.
When was the last time we had a plane breakdown?
I don't know. And then she gets nervous. She's like, I should go check out the planes.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah. But who do you think it could be? If it's somebody who's not a pilot and who's able to get messages in and out, clearly it could be one of the mechanic armorers. And we know that Mel goes missing for hours. Who else could it be?
There's some awfully high-ranking people around too, you know.
True. I don't see any of them getting their hands dirty.
And you can see the wheels turning in Ivanova's head.
Ivanova, don't get any weird ideas. Don't do anything stupid. What am I saying? You're probably going to do something stupid.
I'm not going to do anything stupid. You're going to do something stupid.
How many times do I have to tell you that is not a good comeback?
Fine.
Nick's just gonna get up and walk away and go sit over with the mechanic armorers.
Well, maybe she'll get some information. And the two of us are like looking over there.
And Ivanova decides she's going to do some checking of things out in the hangar, leaving Irina and Anastasia in their space, and Nick on her way over to talk to Mel and the mechanic armorers, and Titania and Anasova off towards the barracks with their medals pinned on their chests. And Nick heads over towards the mechanic armorers and they're having like a good time with the food, and they never get information first. They tend to get it a little bit later, so they haven't heard the new rumor about the traitor. But they're having a good time, and they see you, and they're like, "Oh, Nick, it's a pleasure to have one of the pilots with us. Join us."
Yeah. Well, you know me, I prefer to navigate, but either or is always good.
and she smiles, and it's like there's a whole crew there with them. And you know, they sort of sit down, they make space for you, and nobody is surprised to see you. And it's, you know, you hang out with them enough, and you're working class enough that people don't tend to be too surprised about it. You know how it is. And Natalia Yubinka is basically Mel's right-hand woman. She's the one that, if you remember, when Mel was missing that one last night in Pashkovskaya, it was Natalia who was sort of running things. So she's a private, but she's sort of like the second-hand woman, and you know her fairly well. And you know, she and Mel sort of just move over to make space for you to sit at the table.
Man, I wasn't gone very long. I came back to a very interesting welcome.
You mean the medals?
Well, there's medals, a kid,
Yeah.
actual food.
So, Lena and Ivanova, Ludmila, they arrived with a kid in the plane. They just picked up some kid and brought her in. It was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, and the food were for some of these army guys just brought us food and then made it. They were all right.
It's boy, this has been an interesting war.
Yeah. Hey, how was your duty over in First Squadron?
It's fine. Nothing really interesting to report. They just needed another navigator over there that wasn't terrible at their job.
And Ludmila laughs too, and they're all sort of they're like, so are you going to come and play poker with us? Then that's Ludmila.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just hoping to go get a quick breath of fresh air, though. I, pretty full now. I'm just, I'm going to step out for a couple of minutes, I think, and then I'll meet you all for poker.
And Ludmila's like, oh, Natalia's like, oh, that's great. And Nick just sort of nods, just a little bit of a nod.
Yeah.
Saying, Mel. I know what that means. Mel nods. And I assume you leave and head off to the forest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as you're heading off that way, you pass by this sort of detail of prisoners of war who are cutting down timber and splitting them to sort of work on the airfield. And after an appropriate amount of time, so it does not look suspicious, Nick slides out of the mess tent.
Mel?
Yes, thank you. Mel's, it's just like, now I'm just like, Nell, Mick, like I just have portmanteaued your name in my mind.
Characters are long enough.
Yes. And Mel sneaks out. Is she observed by anyone? We don't know. But let's go over to the barracks when Titania arrives and comes to check in on Anasova.
Oh, I'm crying.
Titania quietly goes in and then sits on the bunk across from hers and just sits there for a minute.
Yeah, I don't think I don't do anything. I don't try to keep my shit together. I'm just crying.
Look, I've been doing this long enough now, under enough circumstances that I can put people together in a plane, and I can drop bombs on Nazis and, send people on reconnaissance missions and even have them come back with children and somehow still figure that out. But I'm not always sure how to say what needs to be said.
I don't think you can say anything right now.
No, but I should.
If you reveal a significant new truth about yourself, this can be a reach out.
I'm working on it. Don't rush me.
I'm just putting it out there.
So Johnny's going to ask, Anasova, where do you come from for all of this?
I actually forget the name of the town. Hold on. It's on my sheet. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's been so long.
Oh yeah, I know. It's been a while. I don't. Komsomol Academy, I guess, is like
I believe you were from. Yeah, I think you were from
the town, right?
No, that's the good Soviet party member flight academy. I believe you're from Moscow.
Right. Oh, I'm from Moscow. Yeah.
Why did you come here to do this?
I belong in the sky.
But why war?
Because I believe in doing the right thing, and this is the right thing, even if it's hard.
I come from Leningrad. I'm sure you've heard.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that when mail day comes, you're the other person who doesn't get any mail. What you may not know, I was in Leningrad when the siege happened. She kind of lets that sit for a second.
Yeah. And I stop crying and I kind of just sit up and maybe wipe my eyes a bit, and I'm listening attentively, waiting for you to continue.
At this point, Tadani is she's still talking to you, but she's looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
I was in Leningrad when it started, and I was in school to be an artist, and we all know how our government views these things. My mother was an artist. My father was in the sciences, neither of which at that point was looked on favorably. And they knew, they had to get me out of there. And I had started university, and I had started flying. And I took to it very well. And things were getting worse, and they knew it was going to be getting worse. So they figured out how to get me out. And there was only one way of doing that, which was to contact the people who were higher ranking in Leningrad at the time. And the only thing that they wanted was for my mother to turn herself in. So She did. And they got me out in a cart. Kind of just silent for a bit. And so, as you can possibly understand, I'm a little wary with information.
Yeah.
This, after all, is the system and the country that I'm fighting for. And she looks back at Anasopa at this point. I believe in what we're doing. I believe in what we're doing. I believe in the cause. I believe that our country can be exactly what we want it to be. And I think that's why we're fighting, but we still have a little ways to go. But it takes all of us working together to make that happen. And I apologize that I did not let you know sooner. I understand that it's a very personal and what they did is not okay, and the way you were treated once you got back is not okay.
I think you prepare yourself for the way they treated me when I was over there. But I didn't prepare myself for the way I would be treated here.
Kind of leans in. I want you to understand that the same system that took my mother is the same system that whispers about you behind your back. And the same one that sends some of us to hospital and will shoot some of us and make the others watch. But that's not the system that I'm fighting for, because I think we can be better than that.
Thank you.
Can I have that reach out roll? It's a 2d6.
Yeah. Maybe. Oh no, not on the screen anymore. I don't remember. Reach out is which?
It's just a regular 2d6. You don't have any regard that is applicable, correct?
No.
Nope. All right.
Not yet.
Let's see how it goes.
Hey, a 10.
That is a full success.
That's right.
The dice gods know with that RP, it has to be a full success.
Right?
You may choose two.
I will take both of those.
You have a choice between these three things, two of the three. Remove one harm from you and your friend. Change the target and the tone of your currently filled regard slot to Anasova, or add one to the mission pool.
She has harm as well.
Yes.
I do.
I will remove a harm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
I will add one to the mission pool, is what I shall do.
It is done.
Lieutenant,
Yes.
your mother would be really proud.
She smiles, but she doesn't say anything.
Yep. And then I'll probably try to clean up and go about my business, I guess.
Yeah, and then Titania's gonna leave the tent and go somewhere private and just she hasn't really talked about that for a few years, so it's all gonna just come out.
Where do you go?
I think she is going to. Hang on, let me look back at this map. She is. Is there any? I know that the corn structure. Is there anything over on the other side, like that's away from people?
You'd have to probably make your way. Like, there's probably nobody in the corn structure right now, so you could maybe be there in your wheat structure.
Yeah, she might actually.
Hit the forest.
I think
Other direction.
I think she might be heading forest toward, because she knows that nobody would be over there because it's a very suspicious location. So that is where she will go.
Okay, and cry.
Mhm.
So let's talk to let's go into the forest for a moment, where Nick has gotten there first into a bit of the rendezvous where they like to go. For, some hours at a time, they may be in the forest and unaccounted for. And it's like maybe 15 minutes, because that's about a good time to sort of not seem suspicious, before you can hear the footsteps of Mel arriving. Now, I will say about this forest, the forest is pretty creepy because there's often like weird sounds, and it's a little bit disconcerting at times, but it's all right. And she arrives, and she's so happy to see you because you'd been away. And when she arrives, she just like gives you the biggest hug, and she kisses you, and she's just all smiles and bright with this like great joy to see you. She's like, why do they keep putting you on temporary duty? First Squadron doesn't deserve you.
I appreciate that you think that. But they needed a navigator, and apparently I'm not completely terrible at doing that, and so they had me out there.
You're amazing at navigation. I wish we could fly together sometime.
I wish for a lot of things.
Hey, just so you know, I snuck out some sausage from the feast. I thought you might, because you didn't seem to eat a lot, thought you might want some.
I appreciate that. We have to be more careful.
What do you mean?
Your absences to come meet with me out here have been noticed. And I heard it from Ivanova, of all people, and you know how she is. The last person that I want squawking about stuff, because she makes a lot of noise.
The only people who would know about that would be my mechanic armorers, and they wouldn't say anything.
Well, that's the thing. There's some suspicions that one of them might be the Nightingale.
What? What's that?
One of them might be working for the other side.
Oh, nobody in my team would do that.
Are you absolutely sure there isn't anybody that even just a little suspicious? I mean, I've been around everybody for so long. I'd hate to think that anyone could be capable of doing that in your team, but I have to ask the question. You know that.
I can't imagine any of my crew would be a traitor. Why do they think there's a traitor?
Apparently there's been some information leaking out, and they're trying to figure out who could have possibly have done it. And somebody has started saying that it's possible stuff was being, notes are being slipped into some of the machinery, or maybe into. It's ridiculous and terrible, and I'm sure. I want to believe that it's not accurate, but I want, and Nick's going to take both of Mel's hands. I want you to be careful. I'm worried about your safety. I'm worried about your crew's safety, and I want you to keep an eye out, because even if there's a small chance that this is happening, you're going to be the best person to know.
I was going to tell you something a lot more exciting than this.
I think most things would be a lot more exciting than this. This is not the conversation I was expecting to have either.
I know all that my women are loyal, but they said that notes were slipped in like the munitions? Machinery?
That's what I was being told, and fingers were being pointed specifically at you. And I wanted you to know, I just want you to be safe. We've made it this far, this long, without anything happening to either of us. I mean, beyond the usual. And I don't want that to change.
Nick, I wanted to tell you that if you wanted to come back with me where I live when this place is over, I wanted to ask if you wanted to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
I would love that.
Okay. Even though I'm just a mechanic armorer?
Look, I'm a navigator that's gotten lucky. So I don't really have, I'm not that much more high and mighty over you by any means.
Okay. I just thought it would be nice. And I just can't imagine my life without you. So I'll be more careful.
Please. And I don't want to spend any less time with you, but if it means our safety, your safety, then I think that's what we should do. At least so long as we're on this base and we're hiding out in the woods here. You know, I want to survive and get to a point where we can have a life together. And we may have to make some sacrifices now for that to happen.
Okay. 84 Death's Kiss was damaged in the last mission. Maybe you could head over to the hangar. You should leave first so that we aren't seen leaving the forest together.
I guess I could go first, although you may want to go first, because Ivanova was heading out to check on the planes because she's Ivanova, and it will be better for you that you are absent for less time.
Yeah, but you left first.
I'm not under suspicion.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
This is an act up. This is an act up. Because Mel wants you to be safer.
Yep. What do you want me to roll?
Hooligan, lady, or natural born airwoman?
I guess. See, I pick one of those?
Mm-hmm.
I guess hooligan.
That is luck. But I believe you have regard for Mel, do you not?
Yes.
So that is a +1.
Oh, give me a second here. It's giving me some guff.
Don't,
All right.
no guff.
Oops.
Mm-hmm.
I got a
Like how you're just like,
5.
oops.
Yay.
She looks at you and she says, look, I know you're looking out for me, but pilots, you've been out longer. I think it will just look a bit more suspicious if I go first. Go first, go to the hangar, maybe distract her if she's there, and I'll be in 15 minutes.
Okay.
15.
Just be careful coming back, okay?
I will.
And I love you.
I love you too. And she just takes your hands and she just puts your hands against her face just to feel your hands a little bit. I hate this base. I'll see you soon.
15 minutes.
Okay, 15.
And Nick's gonna go and head for the hangar.
And I imagine you're going to do some repair work on Death's Kiss.
Yeah, probably. Wow, that was a terrible, terrible roll. That was like 2 1s to get it at 5. That must have been Snake Eyes with the pluses I have, because luck's a good skill for me.
Yeah, because you have a +3 to that roll.
Can you roll me skill?
I don't know, can I?
Please do, for the repair.
All right. Skill.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I roll a +3 to something and it fails, you're just like, oh.
Partial success.
So you may choose 2. So you're going to fix this plane. And when you're there working on it, Ivanova is actually not there. She said she was going there, but she's not there. You don't know where she is. So I suppose that's fine. Or not.
Mm-hmm.
But you can fix Death's Kiss, so it is no longer damaged. But you must take, because you're a protector, you must take 2 negative consequences. What would you like? She'll fly eventually, but not tonight. Take 1 harm for lack of sleep. You do not complete the job in an officially approved manner, or the plane acquires a personality if it doesn't already have one, and it doesn't.
So it doesn't, we don't have a personality for Death's Kiss yet?
Nope.
Well, I think it's going to have a personality.
Okay.
What is the word that I'm thinking of?
This is the one that still has like black grease lipstick marks on it.
What about Daredevil?
Daredevil. I like it. That's a good one.
And it'll fly, but I think not tonight.
Okay. It is a Daredevil plane. Daredevil. That's how you spell it. And it'll fly, but not tonight. Okay. It is done. But you get it repaired. It's just going to take you just a little bit longer for it to do so.
Yeah. I mean, I help out and I'm pretty handy mechanically, but I'm no Mel.
Yeah. No.
No.
Mel. Nell. Irena. You are there in the mess tent. And Anastasia sort of knocks you on the shoulder.
You've been quiet?
Come with me.
Okay.
And
I
she
take like a last piece of food and shove it in my mouth and follow her.
And she takes you out to the wheat hut that you've built. And she takes you inside. And the bottom of this hut is like covered in straw, right? So that it's not so muddy and miserable. And she puts on the Victrola, hers that she's kept there. And she like sits down because there are no chairs. Like there's probably maybe a bale of hay and she sits on this bale. She's like, sit with me.
All right. She sits down.
Okay.
Why are we sitting here?
Wait.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Wait. And then she pulls out this bar of chocolate.
Dude, where'd you get that?
Okay. You know, Olga Barsukova's got a bunch of stuff. And my sister...
You didn't steal it, did you?
No, my sister did. And then she gave it to me. And I thought I could share it with you.
Your sister stole it? What? Sheremetova.
And she hands you half this chocolate.
Yeah, I'll take some chocolate and I'll eat it.
And she's sitting so that her good side is towards you.
Okay.
And she just kind of like leans up against your shoulder, and she just puts your head on her head on your shoulder, and kind of like is just kind of in a little bit of a dreamy space for a bit, like a little bit of the old Anastasia from before, where she can sort of daydream a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're just chilling and eating our chocolate. It's cute.
And then when you're like eating the chocolate, she looks at one of your hands and she says, "Can I?" She's pointing at your hand.
Sure. I let her like see my hand.
And she looks at your hand, and like your hand is much larger than hers, and she puts your hand in between hers, and she looks at it, and she goes, "Does it hurt?"
Sometimes some part, like right here, a little tender, but it's healing. Looks gross.
Yeah, but it's okay though, because it suits you. Not that you're gross. You're not gross. You're awesome.
How does it suit me then?
Because you're tough, and then your hands are tough.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll take that.
And then she sort of traces her finger on your hand, and she says, "You know, my nanny, she could read fortunes from lines in your hand."
Oh yeah, I've heard about people doing that.
But you don't have lines anymore.
Yeah, what does that mean? Can't predict my life.
Maybe it means that you have no fate. You can do what you want.
Well, if that's the case, maybe we can end this war.
Maybe. It's nice sitting here with you.
Yeah. It's been nice. Too nice lately. I don't know. Something's going on.
What do you mean?
What do you think about what what's her name again? Ivanova was saying.
Oh. Well, if there's a
You're
traitor...
awfully quiet, which isn't like you.
Well, I didn't... Ivanova scares me a little bit.
I can see that. You shouldn't be scared of her, though.
She's not very nice.
I don't blame her.
If there's somebody who's smuggling messages, it could be Mechanic Armorer. But...
You think it's someone else? I mean, your sister's stealing chocolate, so I guess I'm thinking it could be somebody else too.
No, it's not my sister.
Your sister, but
no,
you know.
But it could be. Well, I mean, my sister would be able to smuggle messages out, but it's not her.
What do you mean your sister would be able to smuggle messages?
Well, who deals with all the messages? The Politrix office does. So somebody from there could do it, because they are able to get messages in and out pretty easily. So it could be somebody like that, but... mentioned trucks. I suppose it could be Sergeant Yu in supply, or maybe somebody that she works with.
Yeah, wasn't he the one? Didn't they drive the truck for us last time?
I mean, Sergeant Yu, she always knows what's going on, but I don't think she would do it. She's really nice too.
Hey, sometimes it's the nice ones.
And she puts her head back on your shoulder.
I break off another piece of chocolate and eat it.
I suppose it would have to be, well, you know, Mel used to be a pilot, and she's not anymore. Maybe she's mad that she's not a pilot, and that's why, if she did it.
I don't know. She doesn't seem like the vengeance type.
No, she doesn't.
So you think it could be Mel too?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like her. I think it's Olga Barsukova.
I think we wish that it was.
Yeah.
Throw her under the bus with a plane.
But you'd think it'd have to be somebody who'd have sort of access to whatever it is.
I think you have a good thought process on the whole letters thing too.
Yeah, I don't know. And then she just takes your hand and she just gives it a little squeeze. Then she's like, oh, that didn't hurt, did it?
It's fine.
Okay. Because I would never want to hurt you.
I don't think you could hurt me.
I could. I'm tough.
Yeah. Try.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And she makes the...
What are you doing with your hands?
I'm making fists.
No, here. And I'll like try to help her.
And like she just kind of looks at you with these kind of puppy dog eyes as you sort of fix your hands into actual fists. And she's like, okay.
Lift your one arm up more and lift the other down. No, that's too high. Like you're using it to block your face. You want to, you know? Oh gosh. And I guess Irina takes the time to kind of teach her like the basics.
And she gives you a punch. It's not a really good punch. But it's a little bit more strength than you would have thought for her. Like maybe you thought it would be like a complete wet noodle, but she's got a little bit more strength than you'd think. But she has no technique.
Look, you're not that bad. I think you should join me and Lena. We do a lot of training down at the ring that we've kind of set up.
Oh.
Could help you.
Okay.
Maybe that'll help you get your mind off of all this chaos.
Sure. And then she just gives you this hug.
I kind of just like unexpected it. And then I'm like, whatever. Like I hug her back.
And then she kisses your cheek. And then she gets up and she walks out.
Now Irena's confused. Oh God, does she have a crush on me now? That's what Irena's.
I'm sure it's fine. Titania.
Why, yes.
You're heading off towards the forest because you're in a bit of a state.
I'm in a state.
And you see Mel sneaking out of the forest. You don't know what she was doing there, but you see her sneaking out of the forest and head off towards the hangar.
I love Mac's reaction.
I don't think Titania is quiet on this. She'd be like, hey. And she, like, at this point, she's trying to put herself, she doesn't want anybody to see her in a state. So she yells out at her.
And Mel turns, is like, oh, hey. And then just sort of like adjusts herself as if maybe she was going to the bathroom or something. Heads over. Senior Lieutenant? Comrade?
Yes, Mel, what are you doing? What are you doing out here?
Are you okay, comrade?
Yes.
And she reaches in and she pulls out a pack of cigarettes. Cigarette?
Sure, she'll take one. She hasn't smoked since cafe days, but...
Mel takes a cigarette, lights it for both of you. You don't look so hot.
I'm fine. What are you doing out here?
Sometimes you can't just always be around everybody else, you know?
Nobody goes toward the forest, though. They say that it's haunted.
It might be, but it is also one of the only places for privacy around here.
Fair. As a side note, Titania's in a little more of a vulnerable open state right now, so... So, I imagine you've heard... the talk going on.
Yeah. Look, nobody in my shop's done anything, I'm sure of it.
She takes a long drag. I mean, you've been around us for a long time. I mean, what do you think?
Look, how much can I trust you?
Well, I'm in charge of this outfit, so hopefully you can trust me enough to do that. Well, and realistically, you don't really get a choice either.
Look, I'm going to tell you something. The Deputy Politruck, if there's a traitor, somebody who would sell out somebody to protect themselves, maybe not because they wanted to, but because they felt like they had to, somebody who could get access to things, somebody who could be above suspicion, I think it has to be her. And I don't say this just for no reason. I have a reason to say it.
What are your reasons?
Look, hypothetical, okay? But I'm not saying anything, I'm not admitting anything, but it's a hypothetical.
I'm listening.
Hypothetically, let's say I knew some people who were lavender women. Let's just say hypothetically speaking.
Go on.
And let's say I knew somebody who hypothetically had been dating her some years ago. And let's say hypothetically they had a really bad breakup. And then let's say that after that, our Deputy Politruck was on the warpath trying to find some way to get her caught and put in hospital. That one, she's got a taste for vengeance. She likes revenge. And you saw what happened with Irena.
I did.
She threw Lena under the bus to protect her sister. Or
how much of that do you know?
What do you mean?
How was she protecting her sister? I don't think the two of them have had this conversation.
Yeah, they have not. They have not had that conversation. Look.
Are you saying her sister is a lavender woman?
That's what I've heard. Or at least, that's what some people think. And that's, I think, what Captain Barsakova thought. As far as I can tell, Sheremetova will do whatever she can to keep herself safe, and she'll throw anyone under the bus. And that says to me that she might give secrets to the Nazis. And she can, because who's going to look at her? She's the Deputy Politruck.
Well, there is a pretty vast difference between sending somebody to hospital and giving secrets to the Nazis.
Is there? That's a betrayal.
She takes another drag. Whatever ended up happening with this hypothetical person you knew?
She's okay. She's still safe, hypothetically speaking.
So she didn't end up going to hospital?
No. Not for lack of trying, though.
Well, perhaps. She kind of like puts it out. Although, from what we saw with Lena and allegedly her sister, it doesn't take a lot of trying. She kind of puts the cigarette out and starts walking back over.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If she's your ex, you've got to try in a subtle way, right? You can't just say something because then you'd be in trouble. You've got to find some other way to do it, like asking all sorts of people to turn her in. I'm just saying, Sheremetova, she's bad news.
Are you saying that she asked you to turn said person in?
She asked around. I know people. She asked multiple people to get dirt.
Interesting. That she's going to start heading over toward. I think this warrants some conversation.
So, Ivanova in the corner watched that conversation. Hey, audience, y'all don't know. Audience. Ivanova couldn't hear anything, but just watched Mel coming out of the forest and have this conversation with our senior lieutenant just from her corner, her peeping sort of space. And Titania heads over to the Deputy Politruck's office. And as you walk in, you hear some yelling and some crying, a male's voice sort of crying. And Svetlana is not in her office. And that's all coming out. Yeah, that's coming from Olga Barsakova's office. And Olga Barsakova comes out of her office and she shuts the door behind her and she sees you. And she's got a handkerchief and she's just wiping what looks like a little bit of blood off of her cheek, not hers. And she says, Senior Lieutenant, good to see you. Just the woman I was looking to see. Comrade, could you get your Andreeva? I'd like her to be here. You might want to be here as well.
Do you think that's a wise decision?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. It seems our guest needs some motivation.
Well, I know that she would be thrilled, and I think it's well deserved.
And as her squadron leader, of course you can be there.
Wonderful. She'll go and fetch. And I guess going back, you back in the bunk? Where are you at? She's going to do a flappy knock on the tent. Flappy knock.
Flappy knock.
Yeah, come in. Yeah.
So, Anasova, I have a surprise for you.
What is it, Lieutenant?
She just heads back out and expects that you're going to follow her.
I do. I try to, make sure my uniform is, okay. Yes.
So as they're walking, I don't think I ever knew, when is your name day?
Oh, I don't actually know.
Make up a date. People on Wikipedia can probably find out when the Saint's Day is, but we'll make up a date.
May 25th.
And I don't even remember where are we in time?
We're in October.
October?
Okay.
Well, it may not be quite then, but consider it an early gift, she says, and then ushers you to the room.
And when you walk in this room, you see a man with hair bleached blonde. His roots are showing, and green eyes and a sharp, sharp nose. And you will never forget this man. He was the man who questioned you aggressively for a full day. And he was the man that you remember talking to your pilot somewhat pleasantly in German when they didn't think that you could hear or see. And at this point in time, he's wearing a private's uniform. The last time you saw him, he was wearing the uniform of an SS officer. And you were in a camp. It was sort of like a makeshift space. And he's there, and he's sitting at a desk. And in the corner of the room is Svetlana Shermetova, the deputy Politruck, with a pad of paper taking notes. And there is a little set of chai off on the corner. And he, in front of him, there is a cup, a teacup. And the teacup is broken. And there's blood on it. There's also blood on his face.
Okay.
There are like deep scratches. And he's bruised. He's got sort of like heavy purple bruises. And he is handcuffed to the chair, so he's not moving much. And he looks tired. He looks exhausted. And there are two guards, these two women with rifles in the back. And there's Olga Barsakova, and she smiles so warmly to see you. And she says, "Oh, my, Sergeant Andreeva, would you like a cup of tea? I have some chai."
At that point, Titania's going to cross behind her to the other side. And as she's walking back just very quietly, she's going to say to her, "Don't lose yourself." Then go and post up on the other side of the room.
No, I'm fine.
Are you sure? Would you like something to eat?
Again, no, I'm fine. Thank you.
But one moment. And she makes herself a cup of chai, and then she just walks close to this guy, and she smiles at him, and then she just drinks and he flinches a little bit, and then she just drinks the chai, and then she steps back. "Comrade, I'm so glad you could make it. This young man here is not being as forthcoming as I would like him to be, and I thought that he might need a little bit of motivation. My understanding is that you two are acquainted with each other. Is that right?"
Briefly, yes.
I imagine you must not have very positive or kind feelings towards this man at all.
I do not, no.
Unlike me, I'm quite kind. And he's quiet. Well, I tried to ask him questions, and he answered some, but not as many as I would like, which disappoints me. It makes me sad. It makes me feel like he doesn't respect me or my position, which is such a shame. I thought that what I would do is let you ask him some questions. And if he answers you, well then, maybe I won't break his other fingers. He might respond better to you than he does to me.
With all due respect, I am not an interrogator, ma'am.
I know. That's why I thought it might work better if you did. Because it's sort of his last chance to answer some questions. I have very little patience left. And I have to say, me having no patience it's a terrible thing. So, why don't you ask him some questions while I just stand behind him? And she just moves right behind him. And you can hear her boots sort of squelch in the mud. And she just stands right behind him with this cup of chai, and then she says, "Comrade Sheremetova, this chai is not hot enough. Could you get me that one over there?" And Svetlana takes this boiling, it's clearly there's like a stove that's boiling, and pours this boiling cup of hot water into this other cup and just hands it to Olga Barsakova, who just holds the tray just behind him and says, "Comrade, why don't you ask him? I'm sure you have questions, things you'd like to know."
Oh, God.
Before it gets going, I think Titania is going to... Polishuk, if you don't mind, I need to make sure my women are going to be prepared for the mission tonight.
Oh, of course. Of course, please. And good job, by the way, Senior Lieutenant. I have my eye on you.
I look over at the lieutenant like, please don't leave me in here alone with her. What are you doing?
She like kind of starts just zooming out. She catches eyes briefly with Svetlana and then just zooms out. And then she leaves, and then she goes around to the back of the building and she starts vomiting everywhere.
Oh, no. Please, ask your question. Give me an eyeball, my friend.
Oh.
That is skill.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's
stress levels are at their all-time high.
Yes. Oh, a no token was selected. Well, that just stresses me out even more. Okay, cool. She is a psychopath.
Is she? Yes.
Yeah, just so knowing what's going on Titania's end, like as she's there, since she's gotten into this whole well of things, like she can't be there without thinking about what happened, like seeing what happened to her mom. Yeah. So she alleviated the delicious food from earlier.
Yes. You get one question that you can ask. You can ask as many questions you want, but you get to have one that whatever answer you want, you get. I will tell you.
Can I just like hold up a finger when I want that question to be the one? Okay.
Yes. So there's one, and you're going to get whatever answer you want for it.
Okay. Is there a chair?
There is.
There.
But she's not sitting on it, so you can sit across from him.
Okay, I will go sit across from him. I would just like to state I'm clearly uncomfortable. Yep. A, being in his presence again. B, with the tables being turned. And C, at the idea that they expect me to do what he did to me because I'm not going to do it. So I sit down in this chair. I probably rub my hands uncomfortably on my thighs. I'm sure he can tell that I'm uncomfortable and that I don't want to be doing this. And I look at him and how close were you? The two of you.
And he doesn't say anything at first. And Olga Barsakova just clears her throat. She goes, pardon me. And he goes, I was not in charge of this unit. I was not the big boss. I did not know all the information. I just was there for interrogation purposes. It was not... I didn't handle the whole procedure. I was just there briefly for the interrogations. I moved around. It's not like I knew her even very well. I was told that she was one of the assets that was in the base of Pashkovskaya, and I did not know her very well. She was funny. She had a good sense of humor.
They shot her. They marched her out in front of everybody, and they shot her. And I don't think you being quiet right now is going to help you.
You people are barbaric. And then Olga Barsakova just leans in a little bit closer to him. Doesn't say anything. She just leans in. And he changes his attitude a little bit. Hello, kitty.
He senses my distress a little.
Interrogation kitty.
Yeah. Really, we're barbaric. Okay. How long was she an asset?
My understanding is that she was... again, please know, I only had this...
I don't care. Just answer the question so that I can get out of here. I don't ever want to see you again.
Fine. My understanding is that she was an asset for a year or two.
And how did you find her?
Well, she fell in love with... we do these things, where we bring in good-looking people sometimes, and we make passes in a bar. She thought she was in love with one of our people. He was, of course, people do things stupid when they're in love. And it's easy. And then once you are in love with someone and you are a little bit implicated, then you can't stop because it's too dangerous. Because once we can just threaten to tell people who you love and that you love a German, and then you are killed, right? So you have to play along if you want to stay alive. It's easy.
It's barbaric.
It's just tradecraft. It's the way of war. That's all. No harm done.
What about this? I don't know the name of this other person, do I?
Mm-mm.
Okay. What about this other person? How did you find her?
I don't know the name of the other person. All I do is interrogations.
Okay, I don't care about the name. If you don't know it, that's fine. But how did you contact her? How did you find her?
Look, I do human intelligence. This was done some other way. It was a person we called the Nightingale, was on your base in Pashkovskaya. I assume it's still here on your base. I left that particular unit to do other work in other places. So when you all left Pashkovskaya, I was also moving on to a different place. My main contact, your friend, was killed, and so I didn't have much to do left in this base. She was my contact. The other one was dealt with by other people. All I know is that this person... Look, I don't know information. I don't know anything.
It sounds like you know quite a lot. Who was the person that she was supposed to contact? And are they still in contact?
He looks uncomfortable.
That's the face.
I feel like you're not sympathetic. Fine.
That's the one.
And Olga just leans down, and she has this beautiful smile on her face. And she just...
when this happens, I look at him and I do actually look sympathetic. Like, she's gonna mess you up, man. And why are you doing this?
And she just whispers something in his ear. And he goes white as a sheet. And he looks at you. And he says, look, I had my contact, and that was her. Someone else had the contact with the Nightingale. All I know is that this person would smuggle sometimes notes out on trucks. Trucks would go out with mail. They would have a stop. They would be picked up by someone, and that person would then lead it to us, and we would get messages in code meant to seem innocuous, and we would get them, and there would be messages about how many people you have and what supplies you have and how much munitions you have and where you're going next. We know which bases you might be at. And we would get this information, usually sometimes this way, sometimes it would be smuggled into some of your bombs would be duds, and there might be, if we needed more serious information that couldn't be sent out. I mean, you can't send information through a truck. The only messages, notes, and on a truck you could do, but you couldn't do things like, large important things like maps or things like that would be too suspicious. So sometimes maps or files might be taken out and they'd be put in a shell, a dummy shell, and attached to one of the planes. And then the plane would drop this dummy shell and it wouldn't explode. And of course we could recover it later. This is all I know. And if they're still in contact, I don't know, because I've not been attached to this mission for some time. I've moved on. I feel like you should move on.
Some of us haven't moved on.
Look, if there's the Nightingale, I'm sure, is still giving informations. We know quite a lot about you all, but I don't know any current information at all. I just know...
Why are you here?
Because it was not my choice to be captured by you Slavs. And Olga just slips a little bit of the water on him. He winces. I was on detail duty doing an interrogation in a basin when your Red Army overrun where we were in Poland. And I knew that if they caught me, that would be no good. So I switched uniforms with some private, and when I got captured with all the rest of them, I just blended in. But I feel like I have rights as a prisoner of war. I shouldn't be treated poorly.
Are you serious right now?
Yes. there are rules about what you can do.
Did you follow those rules? Allow me to remind you, you did not. I spit on him and then I stand up and I leave.
And Olga says, "Oh, she's left. Your time is up." And you hear that as the door shuts. And the night falls, and it's time for our break before they go on their night mission. We have a break, everyone.
You did.
We have 2 donations for the first half of our show. Thank you for all who donated. It is much appreciated. We have a donation from my favorite, Propaganda Bot. Propaganda Bot donates $5 and says, "Greetings again, comrades. Glory to Mother Russia. We must be ever vigilant to safeguard the movements and operations of our indomitable night witches. And the men, I suppose, from the prying fascists. If you see something, say something." As well we should. And we have a poem donated, a $5 donation from Dunya Rostova, who, by the way, you don't know this, but is one of the players in my off-stream Night Witches campaign.
Hey.
Yeah. And donates this poem from the poet Bella Akhmadulina. And it's from Incantation. And the poem is, "Don't mourn for me. I shall survive. The one who's kinder than the fresh wounds nursing, under the crazy military bursting, under the star of mine that's ever glossing. In any way, I'll really survive." Oh, my friends, thank you. We are going to go on a 10-minute break, stretch your legs, and when we come back, we have a night mission and some questions about who might be the one smuggling messages out in trucks and files and maps in dud munitions. We will find out, my friends. And take a break, take care of each other. We will be back shortly. But I need to make sure that we do this. Here we go, everyone. Yes! Hello! We are back, and OBS did not crash.
We are not crashed, and we have cats.
There are cats, there are epaulets, there is brilliance. Welcome back, everyone, to the last third of Night Witches, Toil, and Trouble, episode 11, titled... We'll see.
Everything terrible ever to happen at once. Rumors!
Rumors!
Rumor has it. Yeah.
Rumor, yeah. Rumors, love it. That's our title, Rumors.
Welcome to another.
Welcome.
Or just hearsay.
Oh, Hearsay.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, Hearsay's a good one. I like Hearsay.
But
You get the extra bonus XP point for the title.
one to the mission pool. Is that what I just heard?
We'll see. Maybe I'll give you a forward. So we're going to go into our night is falling, and we're going to go into our night mission for today. But I would like everyone to just reintroduce themselves so we can just check in to say hi, how everyone is doing. And before, I just wanted to say, I know the game, Carlin points out, the game doesn't use XP. I know. That's why I give you 500 XP. Wah, wah. So, let's just reintroduce ourselves, but I did want to remind everyone that in this game, we are using the yellow card and the red card. So if something that happens that's we're like a big no, X, no, our cast can just pop the red card and it'll show up and we'll know to cut that and rewind, retcon it out. And then we also have the yellow card where they're like, let's stay here, but not escalate, right? So for when you're like,
as you've seen, we've used none of those.
but they always can. And I want you all audience know, your audience, you can't do it because you're not at our macro, but we do have these safety measures. And also for those who are thinking about GMing and playing, before we started, we had a session 0 where we talked about what our lines and veils were, like where is good for us? Like where do we like this much and no more? So we had a good conversation about safety so that we could play together and do kind of intense things in a safe way. And that is something that is important. So.
Now I'm like, what is Trooper planning for the second half?
Yeah.
And there are explosions. No, I'll just orphans. I don't know. Let's go and have everybody just introduce themselves real quick so we can get into our the end of Poland. Let's start with Mac.
Hey guys, I am and will continue to be Mac Bove, and I am playing Nikita Nick Volkova, who is really worried that her love is in a lot of trouble because rumors are garbage.
Rumors are garbage, unless she's the traitor.
Yeah,
No.
what if it's the truth and you're just blinded by love?
Uh-oh.
No, I need happiness. Please. I want them to run away together.
And stay in the Black Sea in a like little place.
I also love the cat yelling in the back.
I know. The cat's like, no! Maggie!
It can't be her! It can't be Mel!
It can't be Mel. Maggie!
I'm Margaret Crone, and I play Irena Alberg. It's fun.
Well, I know that you're good friends with Anastasia. What if she is the traitor?
I thought about that.
I feel like she's kind of a little too naive to be, but maybe. Yeah.
That's why she could be. What if they were like, this is the right thing to do? Or what if somebody
I
else?
feel like if she was, she wouldn't know that she was being
That's
that.
what I
It would
mean.
be like
She would
her
not
sister
realize.
taking advantage of her and be like, here,
Yeah.
put this in that thing. Okay.
Yep. Like the ladies need you to do that and hide the plans here so that, I'm terrified that she
He
has.
also hasn't mentioned it once, so that's my reasoning behind why I don't think she's doing
Yeah,
it.
she would kind of openly accidentally tell you, wouldn't she?
That's true.
I don't think she keeps anything to herself. I just don't think that's
Yeah,
her.
unless someone told her not to.
Yeah.
I still don't think
Try
she
really
keeps
hard.
it to herself.
I don't know though, because I've told her not to do some things and she's told them.
It's true. Rocket, how about you?
Yes, I am Rocket Fox, and I am playing Titania Petrova, which is, despite her best efforts, getting emotional and vomity in private.
And rumor has it that maybe Svetlana might also be the traitor.
Oh, we'll see about that. We'll see about
See
that.
about that. And PB.
Hi, I'm Pumpkinberry, and I am playing Anos. I always want to say Anosova, but I think, is that how you
I
pronounce
think it's
it?
Anasova.
I think it's
I think the
Anosova.
emphasis is on the second syllable, even though I always want to put it on the third.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, Onosova is what I always want to say.
Me
but
too.
It's Onosova. Yeah.
Russian speakers, let us know.
Yeah. And it's
I'm always like, I don't know how to say your name.
Hey, you.
Andreeva.
yeah. But yeah, it's been a treat to come on and guest on this show. So I'm very happy. Even though my character is pretty sad and intense. It's been a joy.
Rumor has it that maybe you're the traitor?
Yeah, I could be.
It could be. Who could it be? So.
Boy, you guys would not be prepared for that.
Surprise!
I was thinking that maybe you were.
Are we not all traitors in our own way?
In our own way. Evidence of violations of our 2 articles?
No.
And Mac's face, just like, what the?
No.
Yeah, I'm like, no. I'm like, are you a traitor? Maybe Titania's the traitor. Maybe that's what's really going down here.
Hey now.
Yeah.
I'm looking out for our best interests here. I'll have you all know.
Oh,
it's not easy
sure.
to get all wrangled in.
My plans are coming to fruition.
I've heard stories about your family. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. Story about. Oh, actually, somebody in chat has just pointed out that perhaps it's Scythel, who's pointed out that perhaps the GM is the traitor.
Well, we already knew that.
Oh. No surprise.
I mean, you play all the roles, including the traitor.
That's fair. That's fair. So the night falls, and it's time for you to go on your mission. And Senior Lieutenant Titania Petrova's had to go and get briefing from the major, who lets her know that Lena has been sort of is leaving to go and take the child away out of the war zone, out of Poland, and we'll be back.
Oh, having a child in the war zone is not,
It's not great.
suitable place to grow up.
It's not the
Well,
best.
apparently she won't disembark from Lena, so.
Yeah, so moving her to the side, but getting you ready for your mission for today. And as the sort of night falls, you all are about to go and get your briefing, and you find yourselves in your tent. And it's your crew. It's Nick. It's Ivanova, who's giving everybody the stink eye because she's suspicious of all of you. Or she just has a sour face. That's also...
I think in part natural. I think her eyes just stink.
She just has that sort of natural stink eye. And everyone's in the crowd, and everybody's maybe a little bit tense, except for Anastasia, who's feeling really good right now. She's she's in a good mood.
That's small favors. So, ladies, tonight we are going to be making a surprise attack on the heavily defended German headquarters. Now, as you all know, this is a really big deal, especially with our most recent guest that we have obtained. Pointedly looks at Anasova, but kind of just like making contact there. So we need to also be very careful because as it is an important and dangerous mission, if any of our planes go down, they are not coming back. And so it's no different than most of the other missions we've run, but there's a little more at stake. Does anyone have any questions?
Ivanova raises her hand.
Yes.
Comrade, you said this is a surprise mission, and it's a secret mission, and it's a dangerous mission, and it's an important mission.
That's correct.
We're going after some kind of German headquarters?
That is also correct.
What if the spy tells them what we're doing?
Then I guess it won't be a surprise. Does anyone else have any questions?
Are we prepared if it's not a surprise?
We're going to have to be.
I don't feel comfortable going up in our planes. What if that mechanic armor is the one who's been doing it all along? What if she's sabotaged us?
Yeah, we don't have proof of that.
We don't have proof of that. And every night we go up, there are 1,000 what ifs that could happen. If you don't want to fly tonight, I will find someone to replace you.
No, Commander. But how can we be sure the planes are safe?
The planes are never safe. Have you seen what we're flying?
Well, at least we don't have that lavender woman with us again.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I think it'll be fine since Lena's not here.
Ivanova, you are really welcome to just shut the hell up.
You're welcome to shut the hell up.
Wow, that stung real bad. Great job.
And Titania looks at Ivanova. I'm not going to have anyone stirring up shit in our group. Is that understood?
I'll knock her out for you again.
Ignores that, but she heard it.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, if you roll those eyes at me again, they're coming off. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I'm going to have, as of tonight, the 84 is on rest. So we have our reserve aircraft of the 64. So I'm going to have, let's see. Irina, I will have you piloting the 42. And I'm going to have, let's see here.
Anastasia says, can I be her navigator?
That's fine. I will have Anastasia as your navigator. I will be piloting.
Irina looks like a little uncomfortable, but you're not sure why.
I'm assuming it's because y'all always being young and crazy together. I don't really know. I don't know what you guys do. Y'all make faces all the time. So I will be piloting the 13, and I will have. No, I am going to have Ivanova. You are going to pilot the 13, and I will be your navigator.
That's fair.
And then on the 64, Anasava, I will have you navigate. And let's see. Where? Oh, you're both navigators, aren't you? Okay, I take it back. Ivanova is going to pilot the 64. Anasava, you are going to navigate the 13, which I'm going to pilot. There we go, that makes sense. And then Nick, Titania looks at you with a knowing and apologetic look. You are going to be navigating the 64. Can you handle that?
Well, unlike some other people in our unit, I actually believe that we should go out on our missions and realize that they're dangerous no matter what.
I believe in your ability to make sure that what needs to be done is done. Does anyone have any questions about the assignments?
No.
All right, and as I said and reiterated, this is a very dangerous mission. It is very important. And as some of you know, I have had some senses of things on occasion, some strange dreams. And I think it bears...
This one doesn't incorporate fire, does it?
It does not, but I did have a dream last night that I think is worth sharing. That there was, I think it was an apple, but there was a snake wrapped around it as if it were a worm. And as it came out, its head was just the skeleton of a snake. And I know no better than any of you what that could mean. All I want to say is that I really want all of you to be careful tonight.
You know, Anastasia goes, I don't think that's about marriage.
I would hope not. I think that would be a very unpleasant marriage.
Unless it maybe it's Ivanova's.
She hears it. She chuckles a little. All right, if no one has any more questions, let's do this.
And Ivanova's trying to make a comeback, but then she doesn't have one, so then she doesn't say anything.
Irina's just like, well, that's not foreboding.
And you head off towards the flight line where, you know, this, and you're in the mud, and it's cold, and it's miserable, and everything is wet, and there's just mud everywhere, and the planes are all set up, and as you're approaching, you can see the mechanic armorers carrying these heavy, heavy bombs and attaching them, and there's a little bit of bickering here or there, and as you're walking, towards the flight line, you know, it's not just your section. There are all these other sections that are all getting prepared for this mission. It's the entire squadron. It's the entire regiment. And as you walk, you can hear here and then a little bit of a bicker here or there, a little bit of an argument between some people in a different section or in a different squadron. And everyone seems to be a little bit on edge, distrustful. You can see another...
Is it anything that's worth eyeing up?
You can if you like. You can eyeball that if you want.
Okay, sure.
And your eyeball skill.
Skill?
Skill.
God, I gotta find my person. There's like 20 Titanias on here.
There are all these Titanias running around.
Oh my god, there are.
Why are there so many?
Apparently I'm going to fly and navigate all the planes.
I'm going to get rid of some Titanias.
An 8.
An 8. You may ask one question and get an answer for it. One question related to this situation where you just see a lot
Does anyone look suspicious?
Ooh, that's a good. I'm not muted. I'm sorry.
No, you can be. That is fine. You share your feelings. I'm going to give you a kind of a strange answer. How about that?
All right.
Everybody looks like they are suspicious of everyone else. And you're seeing, you know how Irena is this sort of funny person every once in a while, right? Where she's not necessarily really good with people's feelings. You know, you're not the most. You're not an empath.
No.
But you are good tactically, and you have really good senses of like you've got a really good military sense about you. And there's a way in which there are these moments where you can become quite perceptive when military things are on the line. And as you're walking towards the planes, it's sort of like a little bit, I don't know if you've ever had that moment in your life when all of a sudden you become hyper aware of everything. It's like time slows down and you can kind of just see everything for a moment and you kind of assess quite quickly. And in this moment, what you see is the unit falling apart a little bit under suspicion. You see that nobody trusts each other in this moment. And you can see that the kinds of bonds of sisterhood that you've all spent so much time building up are fraying. They're not broken, but they're fraying. They're under stress. That everybody's looking at everybody else like maybe they're the traitor. And it's coming out in a little snip here, a little snap there. And people seem guilty. Because, you just had some chocolate that you probably shouldn't have had. Somebody else is probably having an affair with somebody that shouldn't have. Maybe somebody has a religious medal they shouldn't have. Everybody's got little things, in their background that could make them seem a little bit suspicious. And so you just sort of in this moment where you notice everybody feeling a little guilty, a little nervous, and everybody feeling suspicious of other people, and that causing tension. And you don't know what that's going to mean for your mission tonight, but you feel that nervousness.
Okay. Yeah, I guess as I'm walking to the plane, I'm kind of just like looking around and noticing this, and I'm like, this is just tearing people apart.
And Anastasia says, but we'll always be sisters.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. It'll be
Hop
okay.
in the plane.
Hop in the plane. She climbs in.
See a picture of my family. Give it a kiss.
And you.
I never actually named who the lead pilot and navigators are.
Oh yes, you have to do that.
Psych, everyone. Yeah, can you pop that sheet back up real quick?
Of course I can. Who is the lead pilot? Who's the lead navigator? And who are the two on Vedomaya?
All right. I'm going to have Irina, you're going to be the lead pilot. And Anasova, you are going to be the lead navigator.
Understood.
Mm-hmm. And the rest of you all are on Wingwoman, Vedomaya.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, don't.
And the night falls. And you have the mechanic armorers holding your planes in place as you rev up the engines so you can take off in this mud, and you're on these wooden split logs cut by these prisoners of war who are off in a camp just a little bit outside of your vision. And as you sit in the planes, you can hear this low moan. This low moan from the birch forest. Sounds like maybe a ghost. Maybe it's just the wind, but it's ominous. And maybe you hear is that a scream? Some kind of ghost in the woods? And perhaps you can't help but think about the apple with the worm with the skeleton head all riddled through it. And Mel looks at you, Nick, gives you a wink, sort of pats the plane, and makes the motion for you to leave. As off in the air you go.
Yeah, put the message in the car. You're good to go.
Oh, snap.
Oh, no.
Fighting words.
Anasova, I need a wayfinding roll from you. That, my friend,
Okay.
is skill. And what do you? I have a question before we go. Did you take an advance from after the last session?
I did not.
Would you like to take one now because you got one?
Yes.
What would you like to have your advance be?
Would you like an advancement? When does someone say no to that?
Well, I mean, maybe she'd say no. Maybe she's like, I don't feel like it. I'm not feeling it.
Whoa, we would have to reassess those feelings.
I think I would like to take maybe a harsh lesson.
Nice.
I think.
Yep.
Just because I don't think I can get any medals now, so honor and pride doesn't really.
Oh, you can get a medal
right?
for later.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I was stripped of all of them.
But you might get one back.
Okay.
It's possible. You can think about it if you want it.
Okay.
But this will be for now.
Yeah, for now, harsh lesson will
Okay.
work. That's adding a new move, right?
No, harsh lesson is. Yes, it is. What new move would you like?
Well, I already have greater good and intense navigation, so this is so ironic. But could I do advance whenever you return to the regiment after being soon captured or dead?
Yes, you can.
Oh,
Prodigal
okay.
daughter, take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And so, please give me your skill roll for the wayfinding.
Okay.
Oh, I see it. Thank you, DM.
Did that work? Oh, my token is selected. Skill roll. Oh,
Yes.
there it is. Okay.
Okay. Do it.
9.
Okay.
Hey.
Yes. You have
A 10
one.
would be a success. We could make it a success. But...
You have one mission pool. So you have a choice of using your one mission pool and making that a full success, or keeping it a partial success.
I feel like we may want that, but
Hold on. So this was because we're flying at night and we're trying to find a target, right?
Yes.
I'm actually going to use my ability then,
Oh.
which means I don't need to wayfind. I can just mark 1 harm on myself, and we do it.
you're a hero.
Yep.
Tell me, mark 1 harm. So tell me how that works. Tell me about how you're on your way there and you're trying to find this base, and maybe the maps were not right, maybe there's something off, but tell me how, despite these external conditions, you are able to bring the section where it needs to be.
Okay, so I'm going to interpret this maybe a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's going to look really bad if
Yeah.
I can find this place, even though the maps are outdated.
Yeah.
And that it's going to harm my reputation,
Yeah.
but I don't care. So that is the harm that I'm going to take. And I think I see something or I just maybe have an inkling
Mm-hmm.
on the map, and I'm like, it's probably going to be right here. And I know this is going to look bad if I'm right, but we're going to do it anyway. So
that stresses you out, my friend. You get your harm back from all that stress. And you make it. You bring them over this heavily, heavily fortified military base. It is the headquarters of the 9th Corps 3rd Panzer Army Group Center in Poznan. This is a massive, massive military base. It is where all of their tanks are. It is full of military. This is one of the most important bases you're going to be bombing. If you can do this, if you can bomb this, it will be so important for the liberation of Poland. I need Irina. You didn't think you'd make it. Anasova took a little bit of a turn in a way you didn't expect, but she got you there. I need you to make your attack run, and that is guts.
I got
A few.
Anastasia, so I get a +1 to this.
Yes?
And we'll see where it goes.
Don't you get a +1 for the? Not that it matters right now.
12.
That, my friend, is a full success.
Woo.
Take 1 negative consequence. Would you like the damage on the target is insignificant and it's your fault? You fly through a storm of flak and you trigger enemy fire, which I don't recommend. A plane in your section is damaged and I get to choose which one. Or you and your fellow airwoman are marked.
I can't choose the mark because I'm not Anastasia.
You can only, but if that happens, someone, and you don't want her to die, someone would have to Vedamaya you.
Oh, wait. Hang on, let me. Hey, you know what could happen?
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to take that, and Nick, if you wanted to Vedamaya it, Ivanova already has a mark, so giving her an extra mark. What's the worst that could happen? She says. Hey, she already got marked last time.
She did. So. She's on her way to death. This is true.
She's on her way. She's on her way. So that could be a thing if the group feels comfortable with it.
I'm happy to take that.
Okay.
She's a bitch. Does she deserve to die?
Throw the plane.
I would like. So you are officially going to take those marks, yes?
Sure.
Okay, tell me how you...
Does that mean I don't take a mark?
That is correct, because they're going to take it for you.
Okay.
So
thank goodness.
This is what I want to hear. I want to hear how you go in, Irina, to do this bombing run. And I want to know what goes wrong. And I want to know, Nick, how you come in and save them.
Okay. I think Irina gets overly excited about it because as soon as she sees all these tanks and she's like, woo, jackpot.
Yes.
And we go swooping in, but we get ourselves a little too close and kind of caught off guard.
Yeah.
And I guess that was where Nick and them come in.
Yep.
So Nick is going to see that this is happening, that they're getting too close.
Yep.
And is going to direct Ivanova to get in close to them and basically almost buzz them to give them the signal that like, whoa, way too close.
Mm-hmm.
Unleashing bombs.
And so you're coming in and you don't realize you're that close because you're just in it. And all of a sudden, Nick and Ivanova just buzz you. And that sort of wakes you up to the fact that you are
I'm like, oh, yeah,
way too close. So you're able to pull up at that last minute, but the bombs go everywhere. You all drop your payload and you see tank after tank, panzer after panzer just exploding. And this is this amazing run where it's beautiful, right? This is the headquarters of that whole corps and you destroy it. And you come back just feeling amazing. And you land. And it is a successful mission and you're ready and you're excited to go to your debrief. And as you get out of your plane, Ivanova comes up to Irina and says, What is your problem? You got to maybe got us all killed.
I was just doing my job, okay?
You were
Sometimes
way
you gotta
too
get a little
low.
closer to hit them.
You didn't need to get that close.
I hit every single one of my bombs.
Yeah, but you could have. We had to buzz you, and if we could have died.
Fair enough, okay? I was in the moment. Sometimes, you get fun, like tunnel vision, okay? You've been there. Don't even try.
There's always a chance that we're going to die. You need to get over this, or you need to get out.
She's right, actually.
And what about you? How did you know where to find the target? You didn't follow the maps.
I didn't follow the maps.
So how did you know?
You got us to the target, okay? That's all that matters. Look, before we went up, I saw everybody. We're all at each other's throats. We have to have each other's backs, okay?
Let's go to debrief. And she marches off towards the tent for the debrief. And our squadron leader has to lead our debrief to sort of find out how we all felt about how it went.
All right, so first and foremost, that was, if I do say so myself, unbiasedly an amazing attack. All of you did such an amazing job. We hit really hard where they're going to feel it. The Germans may actually leave Poland after this, is some of the information I've gotten, and that is because of us. And I think that's something that we should feel incredibly, incredibly good about. Now, that being said, does anyone want to share anything after the mission? Did everything go fine for each of you in your planes? How did you feel about what happened? Any information that you need to share with us?
Irina needs to keep her head in the game.
I side-eye at her.
What mark does Nick take?
Tell the story of home.
Okay. And Ivanova sort of she feels vindicated about this a little bit. She's like, yeah, what she said.
You're an amazing pilot.
I side-eye her.
You're an amazing pilot, but we can't afford to make mistakes now.
Look, we all know that this rumor, this information about the Nightingale has everybody up in arms. We are at each other's throats. Irina, you said it before we went up. This is not good for any of us, and we are going to die out there. So I need all of you to take a really deep look and know that we're all in this together. And try and share that with your sisters, because we need to be with each other on this. Does anyone have any questions?
No, Lieutenant.
No, ma'am. And Anastasia goes, we have friendship bracelets. Just remember that.
Titania outright just laughs. I think that's just, it is true and also ridiculous, but it's also true. So, and she kind of shakes her head and just, yes, and we have friendship bracelets. So she's just gonna, that's enough of the debriefing. She's just gonna go out.
Well,
I'm gonna follow Titania.
Go ahead.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Before you or when you left the table during mess hall or whatever, there were some things that were mentioned, and I just thought I should share them with you as well.
Yes, please.
There were some implications that maybe one of the mechanics could possibly be the person we're looking for. I know that you're just as invested as I am in figuring out who this really is, so we can stop whatever the suspicion is going around here.
That absolutely needs to happen. Were any names mentioned?
Yes. You're not going to believe it either, but they're implying that Mel hasn't been where she's supposed to be all the time.
Thank you for this information.
Of course. For Mother Russia, always.
Of course. No, we're going to find out what's going on here.
Have you heard anything else?
No. But I'm going to find out. If you'll excuse me, she kind of...
I salute her and head back.
And Titania, of course, has to go and do the debrief for the other sections, which she does, because work is never done for a squadron leader.
Yeah, that's right.
See what all the other sections are doing. And as you finish the last section, you're sort of moving, and Svetlana goes, "Comrade."
Yes.
Do you have
Are
a
we
moment?
are we out
You're in public, but it's like dawn is rising, and you're out there, and people are all doing their things in the middle of debrief, and you're sort of heading out. Comrade, a word?
Yes, of course. I was meaning to speak with you as well.
Oh, good. I don't think my office is the best space. Perhaps the wheat hut?
Yes, that's probably fine.
And she takes you to the wheat hut.
The wheat hut.
The wheat hut. And when you walk in, she says, "I have something for you."
For me?
I didn't want to give it to you regularly.
What is it?
And she pulls out a letter. And she hands it to you.
You're sure?
Mm.
Sonia will open it and read it.
There are no words on the letter. It's a drawing. It's a drawing that is unmistakably in your mother's style. It is of the streets of Leningrad. And you can see figures in the background that are skeletal, starving. And right in the center is an apple with a worm going through it. And that worm looks skeletal at the top. And it looks something like that. But besides just being all by itself, right, you still have sort of a sense of these sort of kind of ghost figures in Leningrad.
What the F, Mom?
And at the very bottom in the corner, there's just your mother, when she would make little notes for you to sort of let you know that she loved you and that everything was fine, she would make a little symbol in the small, with little things. What was that symbol that she would draw?
Kind of a little X, but one had a little arrow on it.
And in the small corner of that drawing, there's a little X with a little arrow, letting you know that she's alive and that she's okay. But clearly has been through some stuff.
She looks at it for a while, and when she first opens it, she kind of just ah, and looks at it and just stares at it and just kind of looks back up at Svetlana and just
And Svetlana pushes the bale of hay against the entrance so that people cannot come in, and then she just hugs you.
She's alive.
Yeah.
That's all she can say.
And fades out on that moment. And there's not much longer in Poland before you're shipped off. But the tension remains high. And I know that people are looking now carefully at each of the munitions. But secretly, it's not... So the details of the Nightingale are kept secret. You know some of it. Most people on the base don't. They don't know what to look for. So there are surprise inspections of the munitions. There's surprise inspections of people's barracks. No one knows exactly what people are looking for. You have some idea. People are looking a little bit closer to see who comes and who goes. People are a little bit nervous. There's just this sort of like larger tension. Nothing shows up necessarily, but you are awarded, all of you, the campaign medal for the liberation of Warsaw. It's not much longer after this mission of yours that you're able to break through and liberate Warsaw from the Nazis, who are now pushing, and they're fleeing. They're heading west as quickly as possible. And you know that you can win this war. Maybe for the first time you might think this, but you know that you might be able to. You all have an advance. I want you to think about what that advance will be. And let's see. Nick, no bucking the patriarchy for you. Irina, you did not survive a plane crash. Anasova, what is your role?
I can help the section if during the debrief I criticize a fellow airwoman, which is what I did.
Yes, you
She just
did.
did that.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Everyone, you all have a mission pool for next mission.
Yes,
Thanks to
that's the
Anasova.
only reason why I did it. I'm sorry.
Thanks to Anasova. So everyone here gets one advance for that last mission, and Titania, you get two.
Yes, Titania wins again.
And this is a time for you to think about what you want to advance for, but this will be the end of Poland. You will be heading next week to the final duty station, Buchholz. You are making it close to Berlin. The war is coming to an end, and you will be co-located with the 218th again, and the tension and the mystery of the Nightingale is still lingering. Who in your unit is a traitor? And will you find out before it's too late? This is our question.
Not ominous at all.
No, not ominous. But we have some donations that I would like to read out. So we have $5 from Carissa, who is my GM for Call of Cthulhu, who I will be seeing tomorrow. And she says, such an intense interrogation scene. And that is true, it was. Oh, well, maybe it wasn't. You all thought it was fine, yeah? It was just, like, relaxing?
That's what happened.
So relaxing.
Was
Like I wasn't sweating at all.
It was cool.
Nice relaxing tea.
William TW, who is the main keeper of our wiki, wiki, we have one, donated $10, and Deceptive Mirror had to take a walk, it was so intense, and says, thanks for another awesome episode, lots of mystery tonight, and the great handling of psychological torture, T for tat, so to speak. I feel for Anasova, PB, but it's a great arc. And then, hey, we have a poem from the Vera Pavlova fan. I love Vera Pavlova fan's poems for $5. It is treachery. Suspicion floods the sisters. Bonds strain and groan and hold. Valor rises above. Witches soar and seek the heart of the Nazi machine. Lanced. The festering wound is cleansed. The Nazi titan stumbles. Witches one and all. Thanks all y'alls.
So good.
And our last donation from Void Smoker for $25. Oh my goodness. Thanks for another engaging episode. Shout out to PB for playing two so different navigators in one day. Because you were playing...
the space fun in this.
Yes.
Thank you.
So amazing.
Also, thank you for all the fan art.
Oh my gosh, Void Smoker.
Holy crap.
Yeah. That's my joke.
The hero.
Yeah,
Hero.
it's so beautiful. I love it.
So good. So we have some questions to ask. Will anybody get a medal out of this session? Will somebody get promoted? What's going to happen? Will we have a good redemption for Anasova, who will be here? No. who will be here next week. However, our senior lieutenant will not be here next week. Whatever will our section do without her mediating influence?
Oh, God.
Because remember,
we might be in trouble, actually.
Ivanova is marked and she's going to die. There's just not been the right time for her to die yet, but she will, and it'll be great for me.
She's gonna die in an explosion of punches. Someone's just gonna dogpile her and be like, "We've had enough of your shenanigans."
Oh, this is gonna be so good.
That's what happens when Titania's not there.
Yeah. Wait, yeah. The minute you leave, Titania,
everything's gonna be on fire when I get back.
Everything's gonna be on fire. So, my friends, we're going to give our sign off. I want to first off, before we sign off, I want to thank everyone who's been in the audience for being here, for watching our show and being on our journey. We have only 2 more sessions, and our night witches are going off to Buchholz, and we are heading towards the end of the war. And I want to thank everybody for being here so far and being on this ride with us, and being here with us for the feels. And you are all amazing. So let me throw over to the amazing, amazing cast, starting with Mac. You're muted.
I muted myself. I muted myself to be kind and conscious to everybody, but that was dumb because I forgot about it. I am Mac Beauvais, and you can find me online as @strangelikeThat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You could also find me on this upcoming Monday. I'm going to be playing Star Trek Adventures over at Happy Jacks starting at 7 o'clock. I play a android who is also the ship's counselor.
Which is awesome, by the way. You have to see Mac in that role. So good. Sorry, Maggie.
Hey, you guys can find me at Margaret Crone, as it says below, in all of the places. I do lots of other tabletop RPG stuff if you want to come check it out. And I make games for a living. And if you want to come check out the game that I'm working on currently, it is called Ashes of Creation.
And by the way, Mac is going to be on Happy Jacks. HappyJacks.
Yes.
And you can find Maggie on Roll For It tomorrow. Yes.
I'll be playing a new character. It's like this little kid superhero girl.
It's the new Masks show?
Yes.
Yes, the Masks show, yeah. It is called Storm Force, and it is set in a universe that we've made up called Gale City, and it is just filled with superheroes, and like there's a whole superhero academy that you graduate from and all of that stuff. It's adorable. I think you guys and gals and pals will enjoy it if that kind of thing is up your alley. We have a whole theme music and stuff that was made for it, and the intro and the character art. Oh, it's just everything.
And GM by Random Tuesday. So check it out.
Who you see on this channel quite a bit.
Rockette.
Yes, I am Rockette Fox, and you can find me any place that Rockette Foxes are sold. Mostly on Instagram these days.
Wait, what is the name of the place?
Rockette Foxes are sold on Instagram?
They are now.
Radio City Music Hall.
Yes, spelled exactly like that, except with a fox attached to the end.
Yes.
And yeah, I do gaming, cosplay, storytelling, panels, things of this nature. A lot of makeup as of late, a lot of crazy looking looks that I've just started wearing out in public because that's my life now.
Do it.
And I am also the president of the board for Superheroines, etc. And we are a nonprofit with the mission to empower women and those who identify as women to embrace their inner nerd through such awesome, awesome things as this. And I've got to say, like, being involved in this has been a terrific honor, and everyone here is amazing. And the game is amazing, the story is amazing, but everyone here is amazing. And everyone who's watching is amazing. We're all just going to bask in the amazingness of it all.
And one of my favorite of all pumpkins, my favorite berry, the pumpkin berry.
Hello, I'm Pumpkinberry, and this is actually Pumpkin. He had his name before I did. I stole it from him, didn't I? You can find me at Twitch and Twitter at Pumpkinberry. You can also find more of the roleplay stuff that I do at pumpkinberry.tv. And on Wednesdays, I GM a horror thriller, dark supernatural thriller show called Nocturne. If that's something that you are interested in checking out.
You have to check it out.
You don't have to, but it would be really cool if you did. Yeah, and that's me. And I am super honored to come on and help fill slots and as a guest on the show. It is an incredible show, and I think that the stories are amazing and the characters are great, and it's been great. So.
Also, side note, PB also designed an ARG for her game.
I did. Thank you. I did.
So impressive. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'm Trooper SJP, your game moderator, and I'm happy to be here. And you can find me at Trooper SJP on the Twitch or Academic Foxhole on Twitter, because I'm an academic and I was in the army, so it's an academic foxhole. So like you put them together. It works. And you can also catch me this Wednesday playing Zeke Hart, Grizzled Prospector, in Super Duper, which is a Fate Core game GM'd by Little Red Dot, who also hangs out on Roll For It.
Yeah!
Yes.
That Little Red Dot.
She's amazing on off_the_table. And that is us. So, all of my friends, I want you to go do something nice for yourself. Maybe like get a milkshake or listen to some music. Do something fun and enjoyable. And until we meet again. Oh, sorry, I should just say, next thing up on Wednesday here on Geek Space TV, please show up for Worlds Beyond, which is a wonderful world-spanning, dimension-hopping game, and that will be here on Geek Space TV at 7 p.m., GM'd by Random Tuesday. So that's what we've got going on Geek Space, and everybody else, please go take care of yourselves.
Only one failed roll today.
Only one failed roll,
and it was like a record for us, I think.
But it was the best failed roll ever. Ever. I loved it because it gave me all the deliciousness. So, fly right, everybody. Take care.